Well, we're back with another live stream. I didn't think I was going to go live this week, but uh, I can't like. All right, let's talk about a few things. What's going on? First of all, why the heck am I live when I said that I probably wasn't going live? Well, thought I was starting school tomorrow. Apparently, that's not until Wednesday. So I got a little thrown off, and I thought, you know what? Might as well to kill time. Because I do want to talk about things really badly here, a few things. So I thought, let's take this time to do one more live stream, uh, and then just kind of just call it there for a week maybe. What's going on, Michael? I don't know. It's not showing anyone that saying no one's watching. It says 0 viewers. I don't know why, but whatever. YouTube's glitches, whatever. So yeah, I decided that what, let's just do this one last live because I completely miscalculated my entire schedule. Was not my entire schedule. It was one day I messed up. All right, one day, right? Now you might have noticed I'm wearing a backwards hat. It's actually a John Cena hat. Why I'm wearing a backwards hat right now? So it's such a so I work out here actually. So right there, there's like a bench, and so I was moving a treadmill because I use it for balance. But the issue is it was like right there where I'm pointing. I was kind of like lift. It wasn't a big one, right? So I can lift it up, right? I'm not trying to here flex my strength. I'm not that strong, all right? It's not a big one. I'm picking it up, moving it, and then there's this light there that I use because I like that lighting a lot more. It captured it like it bounces off of, I don't know how to describe it. It gets my face, so it's not dark. Because if I wear my hat like this, like you see how it's completely dark, it's not a good presentation. And so I hit that. It didn't fall, but it broke a little bit. So I took it down and I tried to fix it. And yeah, I need a new light. So no hats until that gets fixed. So good job, me. But hey, I got my workout in, right? Yeah, I got my workout in. So, uh, all right. So yeah, backwards John Cena hat today. What else did I want to talk about? Okay, yeah, that's right. New subjects we're gonna new subjects we're gonna be talking about. So if you are new to my channel, or maybe you're a veteran viewer, I don't know, but I used to talk about free grace theology. In fact, if you go pull up my really, really bad old videos that I recommend you don't watch, but if you really want to take your time, then you can go watch those. I'm gonna pull up just to show you what I'm talking about. Here, look, watch. Yeah, five knuckle shuffle. Yeah, you can't see me. Where's the share screen? Okay. Wait, what? Oh, wait, hold on. I'm forgetting. No. Okay. All right. So if you click oldest, right, and then literally my first video is free grace theology, right? Truth in Genesis as incomplete soteriology. That's a video on free grace theology. You can go fourth video, right? Grace through faith only says John MacArthur teaches legalism. That's free grace theology. Um, right around which one is it? I think. Let's see. I'm gonna scroll down a little bit. Okay, yeah. So this one right here was my last one where I responded to Jack Smack. Do I still have that sweater? Oh my goodness, dude. What is this? Hold on. What is this camera? Like, why am I hold on. Wait, let me click this. Hold on. I need to figure this out. Okay. What the heck is this camera angle? Are you guys seeing this? Like, there's a huge gap right here. What is this book? I don't even recognize this. This red one here. I literally do not recognize that. Oh, this does. Oh, what is going on? Why do I look like the Undertaker? Like I'm like, what is going on, man? What? Why is like half the bookshelf just? Oh my goodness, dude. Okay, yeah. Don't watch. You know what? Scratch that. Don't watch my old videos because if you watch my old videos, you're gonna have just the worst possible camera angle. Like, what is this? half the bookshelf. It like stops. Hold on. Let me just show you. So it gets like there's a piano here that I don't remember how to play. Over here, it like the camera angle. I'm sorry if there's a mess. It's not that messy, but the camera angle is like right here where my piano is. Like, and then it was like this. Like, why? That's not. I gotta fix it. I gotta fix this again. Great. I don't know why I moved my computer. And then like this, it stops like right here at Strong's Concordance. Oh yeah, you got me. All right, yeah. Oh my goodness, you got me. Wrestling fan right here. Yeah. All right, you got me. Caught me red-handed. What do I do now? All right, let me put this here. Yeah, I don't know what the heck. What was going through my mind setting up the camera? I don't know, dude. All right, so yeah, don't watch my old videos. Never mind. Yeah, no, I know. Yeah. So yeah, do not watch my old videos. All right, just I don't know why the camera angle looks like this, but this was my last. Oh my goodness, my last video I did on free grace theology. But I'm gonna get back into it, and I'm gonna explain why. I stopped because I thought, well, this is not necessarily a defense of Christianity, because I'm just kind of responding to people that disagree with me on soteriology. But now that I a few months ago, I started encountering people saying that you can believe once, right? You know the term once saved, always saved. So you believe once. And no matter what happens, whether you become an apostate, no matter what happens, all you have to do is believe once, even for a second. At least it should be for a second if they're consistent, even for a second. And then voila, you are saved eternally. Whether you apostatize, no matter what happens, you're saved. And that I can't set that aside as some non-essential issue and just say, oh, well, it is what it is, right? We all have disagreements. I cannot set that aside. That strikes at the very heart of the gospel. And that is a goal I have on this channel, to defend the gospel. Paul says in Galatians 1:8, if even an angel, this is like messing up my glasses right now. The backwards hat. Oh my goodness. I used to wear hats like this, and I realized I look like, I don't know, man. But anyways, he says in Galatians 1:8, even an angel, anybody else that preaches another gospel, if it's even an angel, let him be anathema, right? Let him be accursed. A false gospel, let him be accursed. And so I can't just let that slide as some secondary issue. And just mind you, I'm not going to be addressing every single person that identifies as free grace. If they go to that extreme, then I will address them. If they're not an extreme free grace theologian, then I'm not really going to bother, right? That's not my alley there. But to take it to that extreme, where you can become an apostate and still be a Christian, even though you're an apostate. That's not the gospel, man. I'm sorry. So yeah. I'm also going to be addressing KJV onlyism in its extreme forms, because there's some people that prefer the KJV. I have no problem with that. But then there's people that take it to the extreme, and they'll say things like the KJV can correct the Greek, or the KJV being necessary to be saved. Excuse me. I might have to get water or something. I don't know. We'll see. And so they take it to that extreme. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to stand aside and just watch this. I've kind of scrolled on YouTube and seen things here and there, but I've been trying to ignore it. But one thing I've recently told myself is I'm not going to compromise truth. I'm just not. If something is striking at the very heart of the gospel, I'm going after it. I'm sorry. I can't just stand aside because I want to please people. And so if someone, whether they're the coolest guy I've ever met or a complete jerk, I have to address this. And so and this might bring people that are, and we're gonna get to comments soon. I know this is answering comments. We're gonna get to comments soon. Don't worry. And there might be, and I know that's going to attract a very vicious crowd. They're going to condemn me to hell, call me a heretic, do exposing videos on me. I don't actually know if they're going to address me or not. I might get crickets, right? I might get 0 views, but as long as I'm putting this out there, I'm satisfied, right? So, but I know that there is a risk in attracting a certain crowd, but to be honest, I really don't care anymore. Right? I'm a lot different than I was in my earlier videos. I'm a lot more. I think I've grown a lot more respectful than I used to be. But I've also grown bolder by the power of the Holy Spirit. Right? There's a passage, I forget where, it's in Acts, about the apostles being bold, growing bold. Right? There's one in Acts 13, 46, I believe. Acts 13:46. Right? Boldness. And so if this attracts a crowd that's gonna come against me and condemn me to hell because I believe that the Christian faith continues in uh in salvation, that a Christian's faith does not end. It will continue to the end. If that's going to attract a crowd that will condemn me to hell for believing that, so be it. I'm not going to stand aside and watch this anymore. I'm entering in this arena now. Well, there's Brother Ruben, right? Yeah, I was one. I agree. It's going to depend what you mean by that, though, right? Because, okay. Was there anything else I wanted to say? Right, Saturday, Lord willing, I'll be going live on the Christian Apologetics Network channel, and I should be presenting, hopefully, Lord willing, if I'm there, on whether Muhammad is in Habakkuk 3:3 and Deuteronomy 33:2. And so, yeah, he's not in there. He's not in there, dude. It's a lot of every passage I see a Muslim bring up to try to demonstrate that Muhammad is in the Bible. They have to do a lot of mental gymnastics and really try to force Muhammad in there. One means one. Well, that's one what? Like, because I would say God is one, but we still disagree on the nature of God. So that's why I ask one what, right? So one means one. That still isn't telling me anything, right? People say love is love, right? What is that, right? Define love properly instead of doing a circular definition. So I just, yeah, not trying to condemn you or anything. I'm just saying, you got to define your position properly, right? If I go up and tell someone I believe in one God, they don't know whether I'm Trinitarian or Unitarian or oneness or Arian or I could be a Muslim even, right? So you know what, Brother Ruben, we can talk about the Trinity. There's a link is in the description if you're available. If you're available, right? We can talk about the Trinity right now if you want. I was going to get to some comments, but if you want, we can talk right now. As for 1 doesn't equal 3, so the way I address this is appealing to what appealing to what mathematics, how it works, right? Units. So on both sides of the equation, units have to be the same, right? When you say 1 plus 1, right? It's 1 inch plus 1 inch equals, right, 2 inches. You can say 6 inches plus 6 inches equals 12 inches. You can also say it equals 1 foot, right? So when we say person in essence, we're not saying the same exact thing here, right? So I would say that only reason. All right, that's fine. I'm just gonna finish what I'm saying. If you want to join, if you're available, if you want, that's up to you. I don't know how long this is gonna go on, so just yeah. Whoops. I agree. Yes, it is salvational. So yeah. So when we say person, right? When we say person, when we say essence, we're not saying this. Those are two terms that mean different things. So when you say essence, you're saying what something is, the essential qualities. And so in my human essence, right? Humans have essence. They have their nature that makes them human, right? Like a mind. God has his essence. What makes him God? Like being omniscient. God knows all things. He knows everything. You can't surprise God, right? You can't surprise God. He knows what he before you were formed in the womb, he already knew you, right? God knows all things. And so when we say person, we're speaking of a who someone is, an individual. And so what we see is that the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit interact with each other in such a way where there is definitely a unity in essence. They're each God, but they cannot be the same person because of the way they interact with each other, have fellowship with each other, et cetera, et cetera. Well, I mean, so yeah, right. So when we go to text like Deuteronomy 6:4, um, that's the issue. What does echad mean in the context? Is it referring to one person or one being? Right. That's the issue. I wouldn't say that you can demonstrate just easily from Deuteronomy 6:4 that it's teaching oneness or Trinitarianism or Arianism or anything. I think it's just teaching a general teaching of God being one. And so I just don't think I don't think Deuteronomy 6:4 says enough to definitively prove any other position other than monotheism. That's the most you can prove from Deuteronomy 6:4 that monotheism is true. Let's get to some comments here. So I pressed the wrong thing. I'm sorry, man. Oh my goodness. All right, YouTube Studio. Here we go. And then we're gonna go. Excuse me. Community. Get rid of this. Oh my goodness. One more thing, actually. Oh goodness. Okay. One more thing. I'm sorry. Uh, okay. You gotta go, brother. That's fine. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see if we can talk sometime. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But God bless. And yes, echad means one. It means, depending on the context, numerically one, as in like I have one pencil here, but it can also mean one in unity. So just wanted to point that out. But anyways, so yeah, one more thing before we go on. 101 Bible contradictions, right? I was doing that series, and if you notice, I don't think anyone really saw, but in my playlist on that, it says old version, I believe, and that's because I'm gonna renew it, restart it in a different format because the old way I edit those videos, it's really tedious. And CapCut actually updated their software, I guess, so I can't actually edit it properly to where, oh, okay, I can now add the audio in, right? That's the issue. Everything else I can edit in, like the pictures and words, but the audio I need Pro for that, and I'm not paying for Pro. I just want a simple editing software just to make basic editing. I don't need anything that crazy. So yeah, I just wanted to point that out. So I'll be restarting it. I'll probably be doing it in a Google PowerPoint, not anything crazy. I'm probably not gonna do too many pictures and stuff. Probably just going to be like a white background answering each one. And I'll make a community post probably asking like, what would you prefer that I do one at a time or do like five at actually 101. Oh my goodness. Uh, Divided by, oh goodness. I'd have to make it a number that 101 is evenly divisible by. Actually, now that I think about it, we'll look at that later. I'll figure that out later. It's not my problem right now. But yeah, I'll make a community post asking what you guys would prefer. But anyways, we're gonna go to some comments now because that's what we're here for. The comments. I'm not sure this person is agreeing or disagreeing with me here, but I'll read it anyway. If the person that helped you understand how to align yourself with the Father was named Jiggle Physics 237. Oh my goodness. Would it matter? Right? Jesus is supposed to be anonymous. You meet him when you show kindness to the stranger. This is how you find yourself in the kingdom. So I'm not, yeah, again, I don't know if he's agreeing or disagreeing with me because this was my discussion with Brother Rubin on the names, right? Yahuwah, Yahusha, or God, Lord Jesus. How important are the names, right? To what degree are they important? And so is Jesus supposed to be anonymous? And he's alluding to Matthew 25, I believe, where Jesus talks about, when you do this to the stranger, the poor, is it as if you're doing it to me, right? The right when the person didn't give to the poor, Jesus asked, and you didn't give me to the poor, this give to me this time. And they'll ask, well, when did I not give to you? And then he says, when you did not give to things, something along those lines. I'll find the exact reference, but I don't think it demonstrates that our Savior needs to be anonymous, right? Call upon the name of the Lord. The identity of who you are calling upon, who you're believing upon, is important. Remember, faith itself does not save you. It is the object of faith that makes faith powerful. So I'm gonna do Matthew 24:37 onward. Okay, it's in Matthew 25. Hold on 1 second. I just want to show you the text itself. Parable of the wise and foolish virgins, parable of talents. Gave me food. Okay, yes, here we go. So starting from verse 31, Matthew 5:31. Whoops. Okay, I'm sorry. Hold on. I'm like messing up here. So Matthew 5:31 to the end of the chapter. That's where it talks about it, right? So he says here, then the king will say to those on his right hand, starting from verse 34, come, you blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry and you gave me food. I was thirsty and you gave me drink. I was a stranger and you took me in. I was naked and you clothed me. I was sick and you visited me. I was in prison and you came to me. Then the righteous will answer him, saying, Lord, when did we see you hungry or thirsty, etc., etc., etc.? And verse 40, assuredly I say to you, inasmuch as you did to one of the least of these my brethren, you did it to me. Right? And so that's what he's alluding to here in this comment. But this doesn't show that Jesus needs to be anonymous, because the person who you believe in, the object of your faith, matters. Right? Who do you really believe in? You're not believing in just any Joe Schmo. You're believing in the Most High God who came down to earth and bled for your sins. Okay, Michael has a lot of comments here. I'm trying to see if there's... Okay, here, there's one. Because he has a lot of comments here, so I'm not trying to go through each and every one, but I think we can go through a few here. So Michael asks, ask yourself this question, John. Why in one contest was Paul opposed to certain types of Torah observance, whereas in other contests he was in favor of Torah observance? Now, I'm not sure exactly what he's referring to, because I don't think anywhere Paul defends Torah observance. I think that Paul loves the law and is not against the law, but he over and over again demonstrates that we're not under bondage of the law. So I'm not exactly sure what he may be referring to there. Being under grace means that we are no longer bound by the judgments and penalties of sin, provided that we walk in the Spirit and not in the flesh. As it says in Romans 8, I believe, that there is therefore now no condemnation those for walk not according to the flesh, but according to the Spirit. So I guess that's fine, but the issue is the way Paul distinguish it, and you see this in John 1:17 as well, being under grace versus being under the law, right? He makes that important distinction. All right. Well, we're gonna be here a while. Looking for a comment. Oh, here we go. This is gonna be lots of fun here. So Judah APTTMH, it's a Hebrew Israelite saying I'm clueless. And this was in the reaction to Inspiring Philosophy versus Captain Tazariak on whether Jesus is the Most High God. And that's an insult, right? He just insulted me saying I'm clueless. I could have, told him it's ad hominem. I asked him, I'd be happy to discuss it with you on my channel. Why did I ask that? I asked that because since he was willing to say, oh, you are clueless, insulting me, he should have an abundance of great arguments that show why I'm clueless and why I'm wrong. Unfortunately, this is what went down. So he says, Proverbs 26. Dude, this is like pinning down my glasses in my ear. Oh my goodness. Ow. Okay. Answer not a fool according to his folly, lest thou be like unto him. The fact that you believe I should discuss anything on your channel to appease your so-called Christian audience. Wait a minute. When did I say that? Showcases your vanity. When did I say that? That he should discuss. Hold on. Let's highlight this here. That he should discuss with me to appease my Christian audience, my so-called. When did I say that? I never said that. My reasoning there. First of all, you don't. He doesn't know what my reasoning is. All I've said was I'd be happy to discuss it with you. So he doesn't know exactly why I'm asking that yet. Maybe I want to destroy him. Maybe, he doesn't know exactly what the reasoning is yet. So he's making this assumption that he doesn't know about me. Oh, it must be that I'm a so-called that he wants to appease his audience. Right? And I don't know. Whoops. So I don't know what about me asking him to talk is vanity. If you're making a bold claim, well, maybe not a bold claim, but if you're making a claim that I'm clueless, you should be willing to discuss one-on-one and show why I'm clueless. Demonstrate it to me. And so he's quoting Proverbs 26:4. Let's go to Proverbs. Let's have some fun in Proverbs. Let's see. Let me actually look up the verse here. There's another verse I want to go to. Other cross examines. Whoopsie daisy. There it is. Okay, Proverbs 18:17. So let's go to Proverbs 26 first. I believe it's 4-5. And then we'll go Proverbs 18:7. I don't think I needed to write it like that, but whatever. It is what it is. As long as I just get it there. And we got to seek truth here again. What's going on? Seek truth. And so we're going to go back here. So it says here, do not answer a fool according to his folly, lest you also be like him. Answer a fool according to his folly, lest he be wise in his own eyes. Wait a minute. What's going on here, right? He didn't quote the full section. He quoted just verse 4. And so what's going on here, right? And so I just want to double check because I don't know if the Hebrew is at all different. We're just going to double check. But first of all, I want to point out that's important that this is wisdom literature, right? Wisdom. And so using wisdom, depending on the context of situations, you want to make the right call. Let's see. Let's go to this word. Proverbs 26. Folly. I think the Hebrew is the same here, so I'm just double checking. Yeah, it's pretty much the same. But anyways, so remember, this is wisdom literature, right? And so depending on situations, right, you can either not answer the fool according to his folly or answer a fool according to his folly. So how do you do that, right? In certain situations, they're just abandon the conversation. You just abandon the conversation. don't even bother pursuing it. Abandon the conversation. It's not worth the time. And so if you're just answering, let's see. Maybe we got some study notes here also to help out. Maybe down here. Whoops. Taken together, let's read this. Taken together, these verses illustrate the point that no proverb is intended to cover every possible situation. The apparent contradiction of the two proverbs indicates that the proverbs must be appropriately applied. One situation demands that we avoid playing the fool's game by giving an answer, while another demands that we expose the folly to show that the fool is not considered wise, right? And so the point of Proverbs here is that it's trying to demonstrate that there are certain situations that demand an answer or to walk away. And so let's say I was, being haughty, being prideful, challenging him. Come, prove me wrong, right? You think you're so smart? I didn't say that. I wanted to talk to him for somewhat similar reasons because he called me clueless, but I didn't go out and challenge him with pridefulness. In fact, I was willing to have a respectful discussion if he was willing. And so, yes, do you answer a fool according to his folly? In certain situations, no, but in other situations, absolutely. Make a fool out of them. And so I think the situation here, let's assume for the sake of argument, I'm the fool. This situation will call for him to answer me. Demonstrate using my folly to make a fool out of me. And this is a principle I use when responding to other people, right? I use their logic against them, right? So case in point, Muslim says the Bible came after Jesus, so it can't be accurate. Well, okay, that's an even worse problem for the Quran then. Let's say that works, and let's say that works against the Bible, that it comes after Jesus, therefore it doesn't have accurate history in it. It's all corrupt. It's all wrong. All right. Then the Quran, coming 600 years later, after Jesus, that makes claims about Jesus, is even more so wrong because it comes even later than the Bible. You see how that logic goes against them, right? And so, and you can apply this principle in situations where someone's being foolish and they must be humiliated. And so he said that I'm clueless. There's a perfect opportunity to humiliate me. So he completely avoided that and accused me of vanity and butchered Proverbs there. TMH orders everyone. I don't know what the heck TMH is supposed to be. I don't know if that's the Most High. The Most High. I'm sorry, the Most High. Right. Oh, I see. APTTMH. All praises to the Most High. Okay, I get it. So the Most High orders everyone's steps, including yours. Romans 14:13. I refuse to be a part of activity that puts a stumbling block in anyone's way. So I don't know what he means by stumbling block in anyone's way. I'm not sure. Oh, I forgot actually. Before we move on, I want to read this verse also. Proverbs 18:17. The first one to plead his cause seems right until his neighbor comes and examines him. Other translations say cross-examines him, right? And so this principle he should apply there. I seem right until I get cross-examined, right? He should apply that principle to refute me, but he doesn't. Orders everyone's steps, including Romans 14:13. Let's go to there. Romans 14:13. Therefore, let us not judge one another anymore, but rather resolve us not to put a stumbling block or a cause to fall in a brother's way. So he's appealing to this text to talk about stumbling blocks. And in context, Romans talks about minor disagreements and how we shouldn't make these stumbling blocks for each other, such as what to eat, what days to observe, right? And so he says, I refuse to be a part of an activity that puts a stumbling block in anyone's way. Knowledge of the Most High comes from the Most High. Those who use channels for his nonsense are children of pride. It's vanity. So more insults, but he doesn't want to deal with the argument. He doesn't want to address me. He doesn't want to talk to me. Why? And then he accused me of being a hypocrite. You used 1:36:43 to insult a man in this video, and he meant an hour, 36 minutes, and 43 seconds. I thought it was a timestamp because That's how it showed up as a timestamp. And he says, I used all that time to insult him. Now, he's obviously using hyperbole. He's not saying I literally used all that time to insult him. But what I said, I backed up. When I said the Hebrew Israelite was wrong, I backed it up. Right? When I accused them of doing the bait and switch, I backed it up. I demonstrated what a bait and switch is, and I demonstrated it. And so I didn't just say that the Hebrew Israelite is clueless. I backed up what I was saying. He cannot back up what he's saying. He's accusing me of being clueless. He cannot back it up. And so he will not discuss with me one-on-one because he knows he won't be able to back it up. And he's saying, why don't I debate him now? I could look up his channel and have a talk with Captain Azariak sometime. I'm not afraid of him. I'm perfectly fine with doing that. I have to find his channel. I mean, from what I saw, he really doesn't seem much like a threat. He's great at rhetoric, but when it comes to if I'm behind a camera so that I don't have to deal with the situation where everyone's yelling in the crowd, where it's a lot more relaxed, I think I'll do fine. I mean, like in that situation where there's a crowd, it's going to be a lot harder because, well, number one, I don't have notes in front of me or anything like that. It's just my phone. And then number two, there's people yelling. It's very hostile. And so it's a different situation. And that's not really my style of discussion. I like it more relaxed. If it gets heated, it gets heated. Right. But as long as it can just be me and him and people aren't interrupting, I would prefer that. But yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem joining one of his live sessions and proving him wrong on Jesus being the Most High. I mean, I didn't really find any of his arguments very convincing. We could also talk about salvation to Gentiles. You know, I really don't think there's a convincing answer from them on that issue. And so, yeah, no problem there. Oh, look at this. Don't post videos or have a channel for everyone to see if you can't handle feedback. Now, feedback, right? So let's talk about this. Is it really just feedback to just call me clueless and not demonstrate why, not explain why, and not be willing to discuss with me to see who's really clueless? That is not feedback. That is, first of all, that's an ad hominem, an insult, and then that's being a coward when you don't want to actually go ahead and confront me. Right? So feedback would be, hey, you made this argument. Here's the problem. It doesn't work. So stop using it. That's real feedback. And I have no problem with people responding to me. In fact, I've been waiting for the day when someone makes a video response to me, right? I'm waiting for that. We'll see what happens. Probably won't be anytime soon, but we'll see. Maybe Fozzie Dawa will respond to me. I've been glancing at Jack Smack 77's channel. I've been thinking that at some point he's gonna make an exposing video of me. And now that I'm actually going back to free race theology, it might happen. It might happen. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. Anyways, so feedback, right? I don't have a problem with feedback. I want feedback. You know what I want? I want other Christians to say, hey, I would not use this, and here's why. I would love for Christians to do that. Right? I've done this with Bible, right? He brought up a passage and I said, well, I don't personally use this, and here's my reasoning. Right? I love that when I get feedback, and at times I change my arguments or change my views based on feedback, right? Because it helps me to refine my arguments, refine my style, refine things, right? A lot of times I'll do community posts. Hey, what do you guys think is the best thumbnail or best title or what do you want to see first or how should I approach this, right? Feedback. I love feedback. To call me clueless, not back it up, and not be willing to talk to me about the topic you're saying I'm clueless on, that is not feedback. That is just an insult and a plain insult, and that's all it is. An ad hominem, nothing more. So yeah. Proverbs 16 and 19, be well. Okay. We'll look at that. We'll see what it says. And I just want to say that I want to say one thing about doing these live streams, these answering comments live streams. I really think they helped me as far as rhetoric goes, to be like a better speaker. But anyways, well, it's like good practice. But anyways, so Proverbs 6:16 and 19. These 6 things the Lord hates. Yes, 7 are abomination to him. A proud look, lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that devises wicked plans, feet that are swift in running to evil, a false witness who speaks lies, and one who sows discord among brethren. So why is it? Hold on. First of all, why does it say sixth and the use of successive numbers is a common device in Hebrew poetry? Okay, interesting. Okay, I did not know that. Because little. So Job 5:19. So that's like a the literary device in. Okay, that's kind of cool. Oh yeah, so it's that's like a okay. I didn't actually know that, so I learned something new. But I'm not sure why he quoted this. I don't know what this. I don't know. He 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 didn't. He, all right, we'll move on. I didn't explain anything. All right, let's see if there's anything else cooking with this one. Yeah, okay, here we go. Things are about to explode here. Um, have you ever heard of Ramis within the scriptures? I don't think so. Let's see if I can look up the term. Ramis. Yeah, I don't know. No, so yeah, I'm not sure what that is. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. What's going on? Is everything good? Okay. Something the screen disappeared for a second. That was a little scary. Anyways, uh so so yeah, this is just kind of summarized. I'm not going to go back to this drama, right? I'm not going back to this. It's not worth my time. It's not worth my energy. But essentially, just to kind of summarize, there was a Muslim that I had an altercation with. We had a disagreement on YouTube for about what, a few weeks. Google it. All right, give me 1 second. We had a disagreement for a few weeks. He didn't want to speak with me one on one. He wanted a 3v1. I wanted a one on one, and eventually I blocked him because it was wasting my time. And so this commentary is saying, yeah, block him for not believing that God came to Earth. I'll say use the bathroom and died for our sins, right? And I first of all want to say that this is blasphemy, right? This is blasphemy to the highest degree. Uh, okay. Intrusion is a hint, clue, or hidden message within the scriptural text that points to a deeper allegorical meaning, often requiring prior knowledge of the scriptures to fully grasp. Jesus and Paul used remes in their teaching by alluding to the larger passages, assuming their audience would make the necessary associations. For example, when Jesus quoted Psalm 8:2, out of the mouth of babes and orphaning infants, you have ordained praise, he was using remes because the rest of the verse continues to silence the enemy and the avenger, implying the religious leaders were the enemies. Okay, yeah, so, I mean, uh, I've heard of that. So, not the term, but I've heard of that principle of uh, like allegorical meanings in Bibles, like clue there. Not the way it words it there, but yeah. Do you agree with the Hebrew doctrine? If not, what do you take issue with? If you're talking about the Hebrew Israelite doctrine, uh, for the most part, no, I don't agree with it. I disagree on the Trinity. As far as I'm aware, they all reject the Trinity. If there's any that agree with the Trinity, then okay, cool. Salvation of Gentiles is a big stumbling block, and then the issue of pride. Like when I examine the beliefs, I'm seeing that it really requires pride to be a Hebrew Israelite. Just for example, when I was watching that discussion between Michael Jones from Inspiring Philosophy and Captain Desariac, the way he came off saying like, look, this is why I'm better than this white man. He said that at one point, and it seems like it really requires pride to be a Hebrew Israelite, and I can't accept that. And so those would be a few problems I have. The last one isn't. I don't know if I would use that as an argument, but that's just a personal stumbling block for me. It really is going to take pride for me to become a Hebrew Israelite, and yeah. So I did not block him because he rejects the incarnation. In fact, I would have loved to discuss with Aladdin on the incarnation. However, he did not want to talk one-on-one with me, so that is completely thrown out the window because he's already blocked. So we're done with that. We're not going to go back to that. Right? That whole drama is done. It's done away with. It's gone. It's behind me. And so I did not block him for rejecting the incarnation. And this is utter blasphemy. Like describing God like this is blasphemy. And I don't want to say that he's demonstrating the fruits of Islam. I don't like to use that because Muslims do the same to Christians when Christians act wrongfully. And so I don't like to say that, but this guy is definitely demonstrating some sort of fruit, and it's rotten. It is rotten to the core. It's got worms in it. And so his argument really is, it's not even an argument. It's just him mocking the idea of the incarnation. But he doesn't give an explanation as to why the incarnation is foolish. He just mocks God taking on a human nature. He doesn't word it like that. He does not want to use the traditional wording because he wants to make it sound as silly as possible. And so you can do this with anything, right? I can do this with atheists. I can make a fool out of the atheistic position by just not even representing what they believe. I can say, "Oh, we came from an explosion," right? And that's a very weak representation of what atheists actually believe. And if I use that on an atheist, they probably make a fool out of me. Sorry, I was charging my computer. It's about to die, but got it in the charger. We're all good. And so it's not a faithful representation of what we actually believe about the incarnation, what Christians actually believe about the incarnation. It is simply just, I'm going to make it sound as silly as possible, and then because of that, now I debunked the incarnation, right? That's his line of reasoning there. And so he says, yeah, look at how, you see how stupid that sounds. God came to earth, used the bathroom, and died for our sins, right? So he words it like that and tries to make it sound as silly as possible. And that is called a straw man fallacy, right? And so there's straw manning a position, and then there's steel manning a position, right? When you straw man a position, you don't even represent what the person believes, or maybe you do, but you make it seem weaker. And so that's what he's doing here. And then because of that, he takes down the straw man and says, look at that. See how stupid Christians are? Right? He's taking down the straw man, right? The weaker version of the incarnation. He does not want to represent it as Christians actually word it and believe it and have testified for 2,000 years now. Doesn't want to do that. I think I'll move on. There's nothing else really to say because he doesn't present an argument. So alhamdulillah for Islam. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing else. There's nothing to say there. They're just cheering for Islam. So, nothing to say there. If you want to root for Islam, go ahead. I don't have anything to say there. I don't. God the Father will send a comforter verse. That's John 14:17. How come you claim the comforter is the Holy Spirit that you claim to be God? Because the text identifies him as God. Okay, so we're gonna go quickly. This is really simple. This is not difficult. This is not rocket science. Who is the comforter? All right, let's go. John 14:17, and then we're gonna go to verse 26. Who is the comforter? The Spirit of truth, whom the world cannot receive because it neither sees him. So Spirit of truth, right? Actually, verse 16. Hold on, verse 16 uses the term. Give you another helper, right? Parakletos. Parakletos. What is this parakletos? Is it Muhammad? What does the text say? Let's let the text speak. Let's let the text tell us who. Oh, shoot. Michael's here. I'm sorry. Oh, wait. Actually, this is someone else. This is not the same Michael. This is a different Michael. You there?
Hello, I'm not Michael. I'm Michael's daughter.
Oh. Okay. Are you the same one that was in the live chat? The heck, Bane joined the stage. Let me find it. So this one here, right?
Yeah, that's my dad.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay. And then we got Bane. All right. Please don't hurt me. So did you want to ask something?
Don't worry, I will not hurt you.
So did you want to ask something or
Do you know where
well,
Batman is?
Batman? He's not here. Actually, I found him. He's right here. Look, there he is.
Can I kill him?
Well, I don't. There, I killed him for you.
Good.
All right. This just got crazy already. All right. Where was I? Oh my goodness, John 14:26. All right. Where? Oh, okay, right here. The Helper is the Holy Spirit. All right, it's the Holy Spirit. It's not Muhammad. All right, there we go. Completely lost my train of thought. Everything just went so fast. Okay, let me try to gather my thoughts again. All right, how are you both doing? Let's start with that.
Well, I'm searching
I'm
to
very
kill
good
people.
today.
I'm
And you, Bane?
recruiting for the League of Shadows.
Oh. Bane, I think you're in the wrong place.
I don't think God will approve.
The League of okay, how do I? Oh my goodness. This is the last thing I expected to happen. Oh my goodness.
Bane, are you a Christian or an atheist?
I think Bane just believes in himself. I don't know.
I believe in pure muscle.
Okay, Bane, I think I'm gonna let you go, but thanks for coming up. I hope you find people for your League of Darkness. Was it called?
League of Shadows.
Oh, League of Shadows. Okay. I'm gonna let you go now.
Bane, can you sing us a song?
Yeah, sing us a song, Bane.
Okay, I just need to get some lyrics up because I can't remember one fully off my heart.
Wait a second. Hold on. Wait. You know what? Never mind. I'm not even gonna. Never mind. So we only have issues with salvation. Yes. That's off the top of my head. That's what I know off the top of my head. I don't. There could be more, but that's like the main three. Oh my goodness, dude, this is like.
Mom, it's okay, sweetie. Granny's awesome. You're gonna have a good time. I don't want to be here.
Granny's house.
Yeah.
I want to say I'm trying to go home. Granny's house. She kicked me out. Take me home right now. I don't want to stay here. Granny's house. I want to stay. I just want to go home. I just want to be at Granny's house. Was that good enough?
10 out of 10.
Oh, thank you. I'm going to break Batman.
Bane, your voice
the
is
Bat
very
family.
majestic.
He may have adopted the dark, but I was born in it. Right, I'm going to take over Gotham now. Bye.
All right, bye, Bane. Okay, that. Give me 1 second. Let me just. What the heck? All right. Well, that. All right, we're gonna move on. Jeez. All right, I've lost all my like train of thought. I'm gonna try to. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try. We'll see. We'll see if we can do this. Okay. So he's how why do I claim the Comforter is the Holy Spirit? Because that's what the text says. I don't know. God came late. We are not. What? Okay, this is not working out. First Bane shows up, and now we got like I don't even know what this guy is saying. I need a I need a break. I need a break, dude. I need like yeah. Come on. Oh, okay. Not doing that anymore. Oh my gosh. Oh, my glasses. Okay, I need. I don't know what. I'm so confused, dude. This literally. I, okay, we're gonna keep going. I'm gonna try to keep going. I'm like I'm flabbergasted right now. I'm like I don't I don't know what this is supposed to mean here. So I think I'm just gonna move on. God came late. What? What are you talking about? In you go to Acts chapter 2 or even John 20 and it describes the Holy Spirit there for you. Like, come on, man. All right. Let's see. Simply a oh boy, this is gonna be even more crazy. All right, I'm sorry, guys. I'm like my train of thought is completely cooked. Brother Ruben asked, how I would simply ask the audience and John, does the Bible have to say exactly what we say it should to prove something is true? Yeshua never outright said, am the Father. Does that mean doesn't reach this? No, nothing is impossible for him. So, I mean, I don't think that. I'm sorry. I don't think that that we need to see exact words in the Bible. That's obviously ridiculous. Right? Like the Muslim will ask, "Where does Jesus say I'm God? Worship me." Like that's okay. That's absurd. Obviously, that's an absurd standard. We let the text speak. We don't enforce standards on the text to force it to mean something. Right? Even if something is true. Like I believe the Trinity is true, but we should not enforce the Trinity on the text. let the text speak and show us the Trinity in the text, right? And so when you do that, you can see the Trinity clear in the pages of Scripture. And so I would agree that exact words are not needed to demonstrate a truth, but we must take from the text, let it speak, and derive truths from it. Excuse me. All right, jeez, still completely. Oh boy, oh no. Okay, so here we go. What the Quran is talking about is original words of God. So this is on the Islamic Dilemma. I did the debate review with some people from Omega Logos, and then we had Young Christian Apologetics up with me. Wooji, it's a great dude. Work together with him. Saturday, Christian Apologetics Network, right? We're gonna be there, hopefully, Lord willing, right? Anyways, whoa. Okay, I don't know what I pressed, but so he's saying that the Quran, when it confirms the gospel, is the original words of God. That's not the same thing we have now, which again proves the Quran's claim that the original words of God got corrupted. Prove Bart Ehrman in the New Testament scholarship. So, oh boy, got a lot to talk about. So the first issue I have is the repeated, and I mentioned them in the live stream, the repeated verse that say, with you. The gospel's with you. Gospel and Torah with you, which you possess, with you, over and over and over again. And so seeing that, I don't think you can appeal to corruption if the Torah and Injil are with you. That doesn't work as an explanation. It will not work. And so let's set aside the Quran for a second. I want to address New Testament scholarship. So first of all, I don't just simply go with what a scholar says or believes. I like to see what their reasoning and line of argumentation is, because that's how scholarship works, right? Ideas are accepted by scholars based on the evidence, not based on their personal authority as a scholar, right? Bart Ehrman just doesn't get to say whatever the heck he wants. He has to base it off of evidence and reasoning. And a scholar can be fallible. And so we're going to appeal. So, and Chris is backstage. I'll let him up in a second. And so New Testament scholarship, right? If we're just going to say, oh, well, scholars say this. Well, what is the arguments, right? And I can show you scholars that say something else, right? We'll get back to this because Chris is here, so I'm going to let him up. And we'll see. I don't know how long this will go on, but Chris, you there?
Yeah, I'm here, man.
All right. So did you want to talk about something? I got time. I could stay here for like another hour, maybe.
Okay. Yeah, man. I definitely want to get a little bit more insight, man. You seem to be a brother that, enjoys studying the Bible and accepting it for being true. But the things that you presented to me, I guess, prevent you from maybe even understanding it, or maybe even, I don't know to what extent. Well, if I can ask you, man, to what extent have you checked out the actual doctrine? I understand the pride thing, and you don't agree with the Trinity. Well, what about anything else?
So the things I've learned about what they believe is just from listening to them to speak. Like not just Hebrew Israelites, that's people that have somewhat similar doctrine. Like I don't know if you know who John Truth is. I learned what they believe just from listening to them, and then I try to write it down. I like to write things down for myself so I can kind of write my thoughts down. That's where I mainly learn what they believe.
Okay, so you think it's unreasonable or impossible maybe to say that certain people, I guess the blacks or the Mexicans, natives, are the actual Israelites from the Bible?
That it's impossible that the blacks are. I don't think it's necessarily impossible. I just don't see it from the text, and I also just don't think it would demonstrate much other than that. Okay, they're Israelites.
Wow, now that part that's interesting. Okay, so you think you think it's, as long as you accept Christ, it's pretty much all equal.
Can I explain a little bit, because I know that gets into issues like eschatology, like for example, some Christians will believe that there's things waiting for Israel, right? And then others believe no, it's just for the church. I'm leaning more, and I'll say that I'm not fully definitized on my position on eschatology, but I'll say that I'm leaning more to the position that there is really no more advantage to being an Israelite. It's just being Christ. That's where the advantage is. And so that's where the disagreement mainly comes down, is in eschatology. But I admit, like, I'm not greatest at eschatology. It's one of my weaker points that I'm trying to really refine more.
Got it. So how do you reconcile Romans 3:1? Because you said it is no more, when of course Romans is after Christ died. So if anything changed by the time the letter to the Romans, it would have been solidified. But how do you reconcile Romans 3:1 and 2?
3, 1, and 2. Doesn't that say that? Hold on, let me pull it up. What advantage then has the Jew, or what is the profit of circumcision? Much in every way, chiefly because of them were committed to the oracles of God. Well, let's keep reading. Let's see what it says, because we actually, interestingly, I actually did I do a class at my church. So we almost got to that verse, but we stopped at the end of chapter 2. So I guess this will be like a little study for you and me, I guess. So let's see what it says, and we'll try to figure it out here. So what advantage has the Jew, or what is the profit of circumcision? Much in every way, chiefly because of them were committed the oracles of God. So I think it's best if we start with kind of summarizing chapter 2. Do you remember much from what Paul talked about in chapter 2? So we need background information here, just because it flows, right?
I do, but if there's anything you want to point out on there, that's fine too. But yeah, we can go to chapter 2 if you think that okay.
Yeah, I want to get background, because I'm not super familiar with this, well, at least this part of the chapter. So we're learning here. So just to kind of summarize, in case for the audience, Paul talks about, he's doing his presentation on the sinfulness of man, and he talks about the self-righteous person that thinks, well, I'm better, right? I'm not like these pagan Gentiles that sin. And so he starts to talk about the sin of these people, and God's judgment being based on words. And then in verse 12, I think, he starts talking about the Jews directly, how they're also sinners. He talks about the law, saying how, oh, well, the law, I forget what he says. Let me pull it up. I want to kind of refresh my memory here, because I really need the prior context here, so I know what's going on. I need to follow his argument. Verse 17 is when he starts talking about it. I'm sorry. Yeah, right. So he's asking them rhetorically, like, for example, verse 22. You who say, do not commit adultery, do you commit adultery? Right? He's asking these questions rhetorically. If you keep the law, why do you? If you boast in the law, why do you break it? And then verse 24, he quotes Old Testament passages that talk about the name of God being blasphemed among the Gentiles. And then we go down to, he talks about circumcision in verses 25 to 29. If I remember correctly, he talks about, let me read it really quick. I want to make sure I understand this again. All right. So circumcision not being of any avail, because an uncircumcised person who is keeping the law can go up to a Jew and confront them. And then verses 28 to 29, we might come back to it. I don't want to change the topic now and say, how do you explain this? But we might come back to Romans 2, 28 to 29. I'll just read it really quick, and then we're just going to go to chapter 3. Maybe we'll come back to this. So it just says, for he is not a Jew who is one outwardly, nor is circumcision that which is outward in the flesh, but he is a Jew who is one inwardly, and circumcision is that of the heart in the spirit, not in the letter, whose praise is not from men but from God. So not going to make you address that now. We'll come back to it. So we got somewhat of an idea what he's talking about. Let's go to Romans 3 now. I didn't put it on the screen. I did, but I didn't put it properly. Hold on. I'm sorry. Okay. Whoops. Okay. Romans 3. So he's talking about an advantage the Jew still has. And so he says, chiefly, the reasoning is, to them were committed the oracles of God. saying scriptures, right? So they were committed the Old Testament passages. They were entrusted with these things, right? The prophecies of Messiah. Are we agreeing so far?
The entire word, all of it, prophecy, law,
Right.
Psalms, yeah.
Verse 3, for what if some did not believe? Will their unbelief make the faithfulness of God without effect? Certainly not. Indeed, let God be true, but every man a liar, as it is written, that you may be justified in your words and may overcome when you are judged. Whoops. Whoa. Okay, I'm sorry about that. Okay, so it sounds like this is, maybe it's talking about the promises, I think, right? Because when it talks about what if some did not believe, well, God still did not, change the old covenant then, right? Like, for example, Judges, right? Remember in Judges, the Israelites continuously sinned, repented, were delivered, sinned again. Even though they did not believe or were going after other gods or whatever kinds of sins they were committing, God did not abandon Israel. So, are we still on the same page there?
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, he did not abandon him. And it actually says here, what if some didn't believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of God without effect? And so basically it's asking, would he go against his covenant that he struck with them, right? He would be their God, they would be his people. Back in Deuteronomy, with the faith of God, everything that was promised to them. And he answers the quite clearly in verse 4. He said, God forbid, let God be true and every man. So if it might try to get you to believe that these, because remember the preface to this is, what advantage have the Jew? And it says much, not sometimes, or if they live righteously, or if this person believe. It says much in every way. And basically, verses 3 and 4 just solidified that nothing can change it. What if some of them did not believe? It wouldn't change anything. God deals with them, as you just said. We can go all the way back from Deuteronomy to Judges to such and so forth. But each and every time, because he struck a covenant with them, they're still his people. And it seems like this is confirming it. Am I wrong?
Right. Okay. I want to ask a question, because I think we're agreeing on the meaning, but I think there's an issue that might not be evident to everyone. So, these chapters, right, chapters 1 to 3, talk about this. The main topic is the sin of all men, and so he doesn't really get to salvation until the end of somewhere towards the end of chapter 3. I think in verse 24. And so I'm thinking this is probably talking about Old Testament times or Old Covenant times, and he's describing that. I'm not saying that's definitely the case, because I'd have to do a deeper study of what's going on. But given that he doesn't really talk about how to get saved yet, it sounds like he's describing the state of man during the Old Covenant, right?
Yeah, he's basically the first 4 verses are he's solidifying the covenant. I mean, the law. He kind of broke up there for a second on my end, at least. But I would say, yeah, the first 4 verses of this chapter confirm that there's much people, and let every man, not some men, not for a period of time, not this would phase out, not they've been so bad, not they rejected him. Let every man be a liar. The covenant still stands. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying
All
to
right.
I'm trying to even understand how this could be viewed in a different way. But I'm open to listening. But I honestly don't. I can't see it right now.
Yeah, I'm learning here too, because this is actually where we stopped in our Roman study. So, I mean, I'm figuring it out as we go. So
Oh,
verse 5, but okay, verse 5, but if our unrighteousness demonstrates the righteousness of God, what shall we say? Is God unjust who inflicts wrath? I speak as a man. Certainly not. For then how will God judge the world? All right, hold on. I might need a commentary for this. If our unrighteousness demonstrates the righteousness of God, Okay, let me get. I think I need a commentary because I'm not understanding how that's flowing there. Two related questions are presented here. The first is that if people's unrighteousness is an occasion for the righteousness of God to act, is it not fair for God to execute his wrath upon unrighteousness? Paul's answer is brief. It is a given that God is going to judge the world and that his judgment will be fair. In the second step, Paul okay, so that's the next part. So I guess it's pulling from the previous part about even in unfaithfulness, God's promises remain true, but it sounds like it's also describing how God will still punish them, right? And God is still just in doing that. Are we agreeing there?
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. I'm pretty sure you're familiar with AD 70 when they ransacked Jerusalem. He said not two stones would be on top of each other. They pulverized it because God was judging them. That was not a blessing. That was a curse. That was a judgment from the Most High. So yeah, and that was after Christ died. So if it didn't matter, then he wouldn't have been judging them like that. So certainly, when they go off, they do get judged to this very day, whoever they are.
And so then in verse 7, for if the truth of God is increased through my lie to his glory, why am I also still judged as a sinner? And why not say, let us do evil that good may come, as we are slanderously reported, and some affirm that we say, their condemnation is just. So the commentary note was saying here that Paul was reducing the objection to the absurd conclusion. Let me read this. If God somehow accepts the unrighteousness that is an occasion for his mercy, should he not welcome even more acts of unrighteousness from us? This conclusion is foolish. The ends do not justify the means. And so I guess here in verses 7 to 8, Paul is making the point that that even though the unfaithfulness of certain Jews in various times doesn't mean God is now going to be unfaithful, but however, God will not accept this unrighteousness. That sounds like what it's saying on face value. Again, I would need to do deeper study of the text, but that seems like what Paul's describing here.
Essentially, yes, I would agree with
So,
that. Would you agree, at least so far, this does not change the context of the first four verses? And then we can certainly keep going and read as much as you like. But I guess the thing I'm trying to see is if it's an even playing field, if I understood you correctly, then why are we finding passages like this? Because of course, are you familiar with Romans 9?
give me a second. Just want to address this comment really quick.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Michael knowledge was here, yes, but she completely disappeared. So I don't know what happened, or was his daughter, I think. So I don't know what happened, but yes, it was here. All right. Repeat that.
Well, I was just saying that again, just to be clear, and we can read as much as this as you like. I don't think it would change the context of the first four verses, but my thing is, if I understood you correctly, essentially there is an even playing field now. I mean, if you accept Christ, Jew, Gentile, or otherwise, it's all equal. Am I understanding your position correctly?
That's how I would see it, and we can go back to chapter 2 afterward. But I want to kind of stay here because you brought it up. But
Okay.
I think that based on what I know about Romans, is that Paul here is sort of describing the state of man before salvation, before, I'll say, the Messiah. I don't know how you feel about the term Christ, so I'll just say the Messiah, before the Messiah comes. And so during that time period, the Jew will still have an advantage because they're the chosen people of God. And so even in their unfaithfulness, God remains faithful. I see that as sort of and if we read surrounding verses, hold on a second. It was not a him, it was a her. So it was someone's daughter. She said, I'm his daughter. But it was the account. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, this is interrupting live chat. But yeah, so if I was gonna say if we read surrounding verses in like chapter 2 and chapter 3, even I think the next verse, it kind of assumes that it seems to assume that salvation will come to Gentiles in some way, I think.
Okay, okay, I took you here to Romans 3, first 4 verses. Again, I don't think anything you read has dismantled or disproven that. So why don't you take me someplace where where I guess it's a foundation for your belief that now everything is all equal, if that's fair.
Well, I was reading the other verses just to kind of understand what was going on, and so
Okay.
and based on everything else I know, so Paul is describing, right? Well, you heard what I said, right? That's what I think is probably going on here. He's still describing past times, not the present time. But let's go back because I did read this. This is right before chapter 3, and I would like to know what you think of this. Where he was talking about circumcision, no advantage to circumcision. And then he says, for he is not a Jew who is one outwardly, nor is circumcision that which is outward in the flesh, but he is a Jew who is one inwardly, and circumcision is that of the heart, in the spirit, not in the letter, whose praise is not from men, but from God. And I don't remember if it spoke about a Gentile in context. Let me double check. I just want to be sure. Okay, not necessarily. It describes an uncircumcised man, but doesn't necessitate a Gentile, I don't think. So let's just stick to verses 28 to 29. How do you understand these verses about being a true Jew, one inwardly, not outwardly?
Well, I would say this. I'll cut right to it. I believe that this is referring to the Jews, certainly, but you are aware that the nation split in two. Is that fair?
Are you talking about Judah and Israel?
Yes.
Yeah, the split in two, yeah.
Okay. So Judah would be the Jews, the land of Judea, right? Which was Judah, Benjamin, and most likely the Levites, or at least some. Okay. And you've heard of the 10 lost tribes. Was that fair?
The 10 lost tribes. I don't think I've heard of that, no.
Well, essentially that would be it. That's what more commonly people do. That's a very common modern term, but it's basically just. And
Your
so,
voice keeps cutting out. It's like going in and out.
oh really? Okay.
Yeah, I didn't even get to hear what you said, man, because it cut
Oh,
out.
okay. Yeah, am I here now?
I hear you now.
Okay.
Try it again. It's
Okay. So essentially, the 10 lost tribes would be Israel. So there's no problem with that. Okay. So if that be the case, when Christ came, he only came to the land of Judea, which did not consist of the 10 lost Israel. Let's just say Israel, the other 10 nations. So you think that Christ would say, okay, I gave it to 2 or 3 tribes, and then now let's just give it to the rest of the world? Because it actually is going to be perfectly in context with what we're talking about in these last 28 and 29.
So let me just make sure I understand your question. Are you asking if I believe that Christ came first to we'll say the other tribes that were uh the not lost tribes, but then afterward he went to the rest of the world and
Yeah,
not just the other tribes of Israel?
there you go. That would that would
Okay.
that would totally contradict so many books of the and prophecy, which even the Christ said that not one jot or tittle would in any wise pass from the law or the prophets. I mean, if it was prophesied, it has to be fulfilled. And Christ came to redeem all of Israel. So let's just say that it would be eventually open up to the rest of the world. Um, there's no way, if we just look at that, if we understand that and accept that, there's no way Christ or even God, I don't know if you think the Trinity, I'm not sure your beliefs there, but there's no way it would have been opened up to the world without going at least to those 10 other tribes first.
Okay.
That
So
would defy the whole the much of the Old Testament.
So are you asking? Are you saying like he should go to, at the very least, to the Jews first, or I mean to the Israelites first, the lost ones?
It would have had to go to the other 10 tribes
Okay.
first.
I mean, I understand that. I don't have a problem with that because that's actually, I don't know if you remember, that's what Romans actually describes,
There
right?
you
Romans
go.
1:16.
Okay, so if
Where'd it
that's
go?
the case, now
Hold
I
on.
can. Oh,
Oh, I said I put Roman. That's why. I'm sorry. Yeah, this is what I was talking about. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
all right. So if you understand that, now I can get right to these last couple verses, because he is not a Jew, which is one outwardly. All right. This is a Jew who had not been circumcised. The uncircumcised Jew, which was primarily those that had been scattered, the 10 tribes, Israel, which way you want to call it, the other ones. And then even in verse 28 it says, neither is that circumcision that like the Jews, the actual. So first of all, the term Jew does not encompass all 12 tribes. Are we in agreement with that?
Could you explain that to me? Because haven't really heard of that.
There are 12 tribes of Israel. When
Mhm.
the nation split into two nations, two tribes, Judah and Benjamin, and some people, a lot of people say three. So 2 to 3 tribes, Judah, Benjamin, perhaps the Levites, and then Israel would have been the other 9 to 10 tribes. They split in two. The nation Judah from the Old Testament became known as the Jews. They were not all Israel. And if I'm wrong, please, it's worth a study, because the term Jew did not encompass all 12, and that's very, very important. But we were generally taught to believe that Jews mean all 12 tribes, and that's nowhere near true.
So essentially, I'm sorry, but also distracted. The live chat's like asking for this dude that was here earlier.
Okay.
It wasn't even him. It was his daughter. So
Okay.
but I think I got what you're saying, that since there was the lost tribes, therefore, you would say that the term Jew would describe the ones that were not lost. Is that correct?
There you go. The ones Christ came to in
Okay.
the land of Judea.
Okay.
Yes.
So
For the most part, I mean, there was some mixture, but for the most part, that was the bulk of the ones there.
all right. So then you would say the term Jew here is not necessarily the just every single Israelite, but just the ones that are found, and then so what it's describing is explain again the part about being Jew outwardly and inwardly, just to make sure I understand.
So he is not a Jew, which is one outwardly. This is the one who had not been circumcised. This
Okay,
is
right.
right, who had been living among probably one of the 9 or 10 lost Israel that had been scattered to other nations. They were under the Assyrian captivity, and after that, the Greek captivity. And they were considered Hellenized, because Greeks made them speak language such and so forth. I'm not trying to get too detailed, but just to give you a general understanding. But so he was not one who is one outwardly only, because he wasn't circumcised. And then notice this juxtaposes in the same verse, neither is that circumcision which is outward in the flesh. So even the ones, Jews who had been circumcised in the flesh, even in the time of Christ, a lot of those Jews had been circumcised, right? But they missed the whole point of it, the faith in Christ and all what he was going to do, and then the doctrine that he brought, such and so forth. They rejected them, too many of them. Is this making any sense?
Yeah, I think I got it now. So
okay.
So let me see if I can. So you're saying that the Jew here is describing the one that is a practicing Jew, the non-lost Israelite, that is circumcised versus the lost one that is not circumcised, but is still a true Jew because he is one inwardly that practices the morality of the law versus the Jew that, although he's circumcised, practices certain things like the circumcision, the rituals, but he does not practice the morality of the law. Like maybe he commits adultery, or you're saying that it's making that distinction, but it's not necessarily saying that a Gentile can be a spiritual Jew. Is that correct?
Correct. I mean, and the long and short of it, that's certainly my position. You have to receive the work inwardly. It's because they had got very pious and and reliant upon the fact that they were the Jews, honestly. And so, but Christ was saying, no, you got to be born again, such you got to receive the word, such and so forth. You got to be baptized, right? Baptized in the word, right? And so we see that there was more to it that a lot of them did not receive. They rejected much of his doctrine, much of what he was teaching. So they wouldn't receive it inwardly, but outwardly they were Jew. Nobody could deny that. So you got to have both. Matter of fact, if you go to verse to verse 25, it says, circumcision verily profit if you keep the law. So it's kind of putting light on it that circumcision is important. You just got to keep the law. You got to do it inwardly. Christ was teaching the law. That's another subject. I don't want to go down too many different lanes, but Christ clearly, we can prove it by his own words. He taught keep the law. I know we say don't keep it now. Again, I totally respect you probably are there, but I'm just showing you that you got to be circumcised and keep the law and do righteously. Have the right heart, spirit, and mind toward everything.
I don't know what's going on. Okay, live chat. So someone named Michael Knowledge. I'm sorry, the live chat is driving me crazy. Somebody with the title Michael Knowledge did show up, but it wasn't the dude himself. It was his daughter. And then also Bane, for some reason, was there. All right? So just, I don't know what the heck is going on, man. This has been a weird stream. This is like the most normal the stream has been when you showed up.
Oh, good, man. I just want to touch bases with you, man, on a couple things, man. A lot of this stuff really, you kind of, it's like me saying it means one thing, but there's a substantial amount of scripture that it honestly would corroborate what I'm saying. But I know we don't have time for that tonight. I just wanted to kind of just see where you were, see if you were open to just doing a little study. I mean, disprove it. I think that would be a great place for you to be, to say, hey, you know what? If let me at least try to disprove the things that these brothers are saying. If you think some people are in pride, I respect that. But I would say, man, I've been in church pretty much my whole life, and there's a lot of prideful people in the church too. You know what I mean? So that alone wouldn't do it. And even some people in the church don't necessarily believe in the Trinity. So, I mean, those things, I understand it, but a lot of people are really questioning the relationship the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit have. So,
all right. Now this chat is about to blow up. Oh my goodness. All right. Let me close the live chat because it's really distracting.
they really, I'm not even looking at it, but I guess they're really going. Man, listen, I just wanted to jump on. I'm not trying to take you down too many angles. I know you got some things going on. I wasn't really trying to take you off course. When we got some time, man, we'll definitely chop it up, and I just kind of pick your brain, see what you think about a few places, and we just go from there.
Yeah. So one thing I would like to say also is, because we talked about Jesus going to the lost sheep of the house of Israel, but would you say that the gospel also came to the Gentile, or not at all? Because I'm aware of certain places where it would say that in distinction from Israel, like in Romans 11, it will talk about the gospel or salvation coming to the Gentile.
And a long story short, I believe those Gentiles were Israel. The other 9 or 10 tribes, they had been scattered all throughout what would have been Europe and the Colossia, Ephesus, and all of these different places. So that Gentile, I still think it was for them, but they would have been considered Gentile. It's just like, for instance, I believe that the quote unquote black people here in America are Israelites, but we're not called Israelites. We call what, African American, black, Afro American, whatever, colored, a variety of things, but we're not called that. I think it's very similar to that.
Okay. So you said long story short. So do we not have time to get into that, or like?
No, we can get into it. We can get to it. I wasn't sure how much time, and I know you had some things going on in the chat. I didn't know if you need to take care of some or.
Oh no, it's just people talking about like. Okay. See, look, they're talking about this guy Michael Knowledge that wasn't even him. It was his daughter that appeared out of nowhere. I don't know. It's a crazy chat. They want this dude here, and he's not here. Oh my goodness. Okay. I don't even know if these people are Christian or not. So let me pull up. Whoops. Let's see. We got time. So let me just give you an example of what I was thinking of. Verse 17, I think. Not verse 17. Verse 11. Okay, Romans 11:11. This was what I was talking. Like, this is one of the ones that I was talking about. And so it says, I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall? Certainly not. But through their fall, to provoke them to jealousy, salvation has come to the Gentiles. And it's talking about in context, not just a Jew. I believe it says Israelite or Israel in the previous verses. And so that seems to draw a distinction between the Israelite and the Gentile and say that, and there's a lot more to this passage than just this, but it's talking about that to provoke them to jealousy, which I believe that's something to do with their salvation, for them also to be saved, if I'm not mistaken. Salvation also comes to the Gentiles. And it seems to draw the distinction between the Gentile and Israelite.
Because the audience he was speaking to would have been primarily Jews. And he was trying to make this clear that, they have to understand their position. He was going back and forth between the position of the Jews and the position of the Gentiles. And this entire chapter really is about Israelites only, to be perfectly honest. Actually, and we can get into it. If you have time, we can get into it. It's some very interesting things said that I would love to see how you respond to. But check out you because you started thinking verse 17, jump down to verse 23.
Verse 17 was the branch verse, I think. Verse 23. And they also, if they do not continue in unbelief, will be grafted in, for God is able to graft them in again.
How do you see that?
I have to see what's going on in context. 17 to 23. And if some branches were broken off, and you being a wild olive tree were grafted in among them, and with them became a partaker of the root and fatness of the olive tree, do not boast against the branches, but if you do boast, remember that you do not support the root, but the root supports you. Go down verse 19. You will say then branches are broken off that may be grafted in. Well said, because of the unbelief they are broken off, and you stand by faith. Do not be haughty, but fear. For if God did not spare the natural branches, he may not spare you either. Therefore consider the goodness and severity of God. On those who fell, severity, but toward you, goodness, if you continue in his goodness. Otherwise you will also be cut off. And they also, if they do not continue in unbelief, will be grafted in, for God is able to graft them in again. I think it's talking about the unbelieving from verse 20, the unbelieving Israelite or unbelieving Jew, if I'm not mistaken.
Are you familiar?
There's.
Are you familiar with?
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Sorry to cut you off, but there's someone backstage. Or Bane is back. I don't know if I want to let him up because that completely threw me off. So, but go ahead. Oh, he's gone. Go ahead.
Okay. Are you familiar with Jeremiah 11 by any chance? Because
Not really. No.
that's where this is coming from. Where it's talking about the olive tree, and it was saying that the branches would be broken off, and that's when they separated, and Judah and Israel split. Israel got cast off and scattered again to the Syrian captivity, never came back. After that, they went to the Greek captivity. Actually, if you just Google that, it will show you that the Israelites were under Greek captivity at some point. That was the quote unquote, they call Israel the northern kingdom and the Judah the southern kingdom. But however which way you call it, Israel, that's when they split. And so Jeremiah 11 makes it very clear, because it was all one tree at one point. They broke off and began to be called Gentiles and other names because they were living wickedly, following other idols. They began doing what the Greeks were doing. And if you know anything about the Greek culture, it was a very sinful, let's just say that to keep it, but it was a very, very sinful culture, sexually and every other way.
All right. Let's see. Hour and 41 minutes.
I know you got a lot going on, man. I'm down.
Yeah.
I know I'm not mad at you, man. Sometimes like that, and I kind of jumped on. I was just making it home, and I saw you on. I've been trying to hop on, man. But we'll chop it up, man. No problem. I know you say you got some things going on, and take care of it. But when we come back, man, we're gonna be talking about Romans 11, and we're gonna tie it into Jeremiah 11. It fits like a glove.
All right. Did you get my? I know I sent you an email a while ago.
Yeah,
So
I didn't respond to that. My bad. I'll respond to it. Yes, I did. I certainly did get it.
Okay. Yeah, just make sure we have some sort of contact so that we can like set something up. My friend Bible Lover as well. I'm sure he'd love to talk to you if I can get him to. He has his own things going on as well, so it's like, we'll see what happens.
Okay.
But,
and what might be a good
that? Yeah, because I know when you first showed up in the live chat, you were asking him something specifically, so I'm sure he'd love to talk to you as well.
Yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with that. Yeah. So what would be a better day to check it out? To try to hop back on?
With me, I am not sure. So let me show you. There's a channel that I'm planning to go live on this Saturday. Let me show you the channel really quick. You might be able to join up there. The only issue is it will be me with other people. So let me find it. This one right here, Christian Apologetics Network. I'm going to be talking about Muhammad not being in Deuteronomy 33:2 and Habakkuk 3:3, but I'm sure they'll let you up if you want to talk about something else. I don't think they'll like reject that. That might be the best time as of right now that I know of.
Okay. About what time?
They usually 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time is when they go live.
All right, bet. I'll try to check that out.
All right, yeah, and if we can keep in contact through email, we have that. I think I'm gonna end the live now because this live chat is going crazy for this dude. I want to figure out who the heck he is. Yeah, I think I'm ending the stream.
Oh no problem. Have yourself a great one, bro. I'll try to check you out Saturday.
All right, see you then.
Yes, sir. Have a good one.
Bye. Okay. I don't think I'm gonna let Bane back up. I'm sorry. I think I'm going out now. I need to like figure out what just happened right now. Give us okay. I'm ending the stream. I'm done. Thank you all for tuning in. For whatever reason you tuned in for this guy, I'm gonna figure out who the heck he is. Let me go back up. I thought it was this person, but apparently not. So all right. goodbye. God bless you all and goodbye. Jeez, man.